Laplace's Angel, a song by Will Wood from the album The Normal Album. Now, this song is very important to me because it's the first ever song I listened to by Will Wood, and so it's definitely important, and I have a lot of ideas about what it means and everything and how I would interpret it, and so I hope you'll appreciate this video at least. And actually, this song got me to believe in determinism, so it's actually very important to my philosophy and my ideas. And so, yeah, in general, Will Wood is important to my ideas. But yeah, first of all, I'll just go about telling you what determinism is and also what the title means later on. Determinism is simply the idea that every action we make is predetermined by other actions that we could not control, and therefore we do not have free will to choose the action we chose. Basically, rendering free will as an illusion that doesn't really exist. It rejects the original term of libertarian free will, which is just that we have free will, the standard free will form, which most people believe in. Uh, and yeah, so the song mostly covers hard determinism, which is just the idea that like we do not have free will at all. That's how I will interpret the song. We do not have free will at all, um, and basically rendering every moral thing we do as not in our control. So we didn't do anything morally bad. It's very difficult. There's also something called weak determinism, which is kind of tied into compatibilism. I'll get into that later when it becomes relevant. There are many variations of determinism, but I'll not get into that now. It's very confusing and it doesn't really matter to the whole point. Laplace's Angel is basically just based on a thought experiment in philosophy called Laplace's Devil. The idea is basically that the devil could know every observable fact in the universe, like how atoms move and how gravity behaves in vacuums and stuff like this. And if he could know all of this, he would be able to predict the future accurately. Um, and that's just basically the title, and it's very interesting. But yeah, yep. So let's get into the analysis.
Have you ever died in a nightmare? Woke up surprised you hadn't earned your fate. Have you ever felt like gas threw you back out on the axis and collapsed and threw the planet away?
Oh boy, this is interesting. So Willwood doesn't really start with the undermining themes of like determinism or anything. Rather, he starts with talking about you and talking to the viewer, saying like, "Have you ever died in a nightmare? Woke up surprised you haven't earned your faith?" He's kind of saying like, "Are you surprised you didn't die?" I would say, he's trying to say, "Are you thinking about death? Like, are you kind of guilty about things you have done, or trying to tie up the things about being an evil person. Later in the verse, it talks about being an evil person. So I think also this verse is kind of trying to hint at this. We are very bad in some kind of way, right? Um, and yeah, I think the Atlas thing kind of talks about the same thing. You falling through the face of the earth. I don't really know what it means, but I think it would tie into original meaning. So yeah, I would have to get help on that. I haven't seen anyone like talk about it in a way I would be able to formulate it good. But yeah, I would say that's what it means for the first part.
Everyone's just blood in the night street. A vampire picking flowers out in the sun. Run your diagnostic test is positive. Nobody dies agnostic, though it's still down 911.
This verse is so genius and I love it. So the channel Willwood Peter Griffin interpreted the verse "Everyone's just blood and ice ray," kind of like saying good and bad people aren't so different. Saying blood is usually a symbol of like death and badness, and ice is usually water, purity. So bad and good people aren't so different. I interpret similarly. I agree with him on the interpretation. I kind of say like bad and good people aren't so different. We're just kind of fitting a mold already set for us. The line "nobody dies agnostic." I think it's kind of tying into like faith and stuff like this. You believe that like You're kind of in the middle, and then you say you're on your deathbed, and you make up your mind before you die on whether or not there's a deity, or for example, uh, and verse like the line after that talks about, but we still dial 911. We still dial 911 even though we believe in an afterlife, that it's going to be good in the afterlife. We still dial 911 because we want to live, even if we think there's an afterlife or that life has no meaning. Stuff like this. We still try to stay alive.
Now we're singing. In my bed, in my bed, in my bed, in my bed. Now we're singing. If you were in my shoes, you are the same damn mouse I know.
So I think if you listen to the intro, it says the same things as the intro does. If you were in my shoes, you walk the same damn mile as I do. It's kind of saying, you know, if you were me, you would do the exact same things I do. So I'm not evil because like I'm a bad person. I'm evil because I'm already predetermined to be evil. So you would also do the same things in my situation. Kind of trying to excuse yourself, which I guess a deterministic view would do that. But yeah, I mean, uh, just when the chorus is coming up, try to listen more to the background singers because they also say interesting things. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about that maybe. So yeah, just be aware of that.
We're only tuning to the tone of the bell curve now. Ask not for whom it tones. But with my head up in the clouds, I can't see so much ground. And from here, yeah, I look like ants in a row.
We're only tuning to the tone of the bell curve is referring to trying to fit into other people's view on what you should be. A bell curve in this situation, I think, is both referring to the bell curve of a graph that naturally clustered towards the average, the normal of what you are. We're part of this bell curve. And a bell that swings on a pattern that the bell itself cannot control, but only the person swinging it, and the natural elements, of course. And so we get to ask not for whom it tolls. So we're not swinging this bell. We are the bell, and something else is swinging us. So something else is shaping us to be the person we are. And from up here, you look like ants in a row. I think it's saying both that we're just following and adjusting to what other people think is normal and other people's expectations of us, and also that we're pretty predictable, just following a path, just like an ant is just following a path.
It doesn't take a killer to murder. It only takes a reason to kill. We've all got evidence of innocence. It's everything's coincidence. The difference between fate and free will is whether you're singing.
It doesn't take a killer to murder, it only takes a reason to kill. Is again saying, it's not my fault that I'm predetermined to murder people. It's just my faith, it's completely fine. We all got evidence of innocence. It's everything coincidence. In like quotation marks. So it's kind of clowning. I think so, at least. I don't know what people would interpret it as, but I think it's kind of clowning on the idea of determinism by saying, look at these people, they're excusing themselves by saying, I'm already predetermined, so it doesn't matter. And so, yeah, it's kind of saying that. So it's kind of taking you between everything. The difference between fate and free will is whether you're singing. Now, this single line got me to want to make this video because I haven't seen people like interpret it like this. I think it's clearly talking about weak, I'm sorry, soft determinism, which is also called compatibilism, which says free will is also compatible to um, a determinism. You can be predetermined to do something and also have free will. We just have to redefine what free will means. Imagine like someone jumping from a height rather than being pushed. If someone's jumping, they want to do it, whilst if someone's being pushed, they're forced to do it, right? They're still like predetermined, this is what a compatible say. They're still predetermined, but they had the choice. They wanted to do this. And so it kind of says your want is what makes you free. The difference between fate and free will is whether you're singing, if it's whether you're being happily going along with this. That's what makes you free. And it's kind of sticking it to the normal and saying, you just have to embrace who you are as a person. I think it kind of rounds up the whole entire album of this thing. Kind of, I mean, people have interpreted like you should just try to be your own person. In the end, you're going to end, right? So you should try to be happy. So I think, this verse is, or this line, this sentence is so interesting because of that. Like I interpret it in this way that basically says you should be your own person in general. So I kind of think it sums up everything that Will Wood is trying to say with the album in some kind of way. So yeah, I think it's kind of what it's saying. I obviously don't think it's trying to say the whole song is self-determinist. I still think the whole song is hard determinist, but I still think it's interesting that it kind of implies like compatibilism in some kind of way.
So evil once you get a little fun.
So if you wash your hands of where you've been, you'll flood the second floor. It's saying like if you keep feeling guilty and if you keep saying sorry for who you are and the actions you take, you're just gonna drown in them. So you kind of have to embrace it, kind of saying again, you have to sing it and be happy with who you are. That's the only way. It's not being normal or fitting societal norms. It's just embracing it. Neatly fold your skeletons, but still can't shut the closet door. Basically, you cannot like neatly excuse things or say sorry all the time. You have to embrace it. Again, it's saying the same thing, but differently. The only ones in need of love are those who don't receive enough, so evil ones should get a little more. Kind of starting with the premise that, you know, people in need of love are those who deserve it the most. So it concludes with evil ones should get a little more, right? Because they don't get it. I think evil ones are not just like referring to people who are mur- commit murders and stuff like this. I think it's also referring to people who don't fit societal norms, who don't fit the normal, right? They're deemed as evil because they're not understood, they're not like the normal people, they're not in the average. And so they're just deemed evil. Therefore, these people also deserve to be loved. They also deserve to be happy, of course. That's my interpretation of it. Yep. You there. Could you break an angel's fall? You could also be good. You could be a good person. And you can ignore the devil's call. You cannot be a bad person. Still, are you better than me? It doesn't mean you're better than me. It just means you're doing good things, being predetermined to do good things. Still, forsaken shoulders fall silent now. So you're still going to have the burden of still doing bad things sometimes. You should just embrace the burden on your shoulders and say, well, I'm not free. I don't have free will. And then you can be truly free. That's far out there, maybe, but still, I'm trying. Okay. Uh, it's more than cultural. It's no more than cultural. Just fitting society, trying to be good by society and saying you're normal. But again, you're just a pawn. Are you a better pawn than me in this game? Obviously, you're not. You're nothing but a predetermined path for you in the future. Whatever you think of me, you and me are inseparable. So you and me are no different. If you were in my shoes, you would do the same things as me. And so you and me, we're not so different after all. Even though you do good things, you would do the same things as me in every situation. It's a small hell after all, realizing, we are predetermined. It can be very scary and it can be very hellish. You just have to embrace it again. I think this ties up to his philosophy in general, like absurdism. I'm pretty sure I've been told that Willowwood is an absurdist. I might not be correct about that. I'm sorry, but still, it kind of ties up to absurdism. Just accepting it and winging it, be happy no matter what. Okay, this one's thankfully gonna be shorter. Man, no more than animal, is made of moral chemicals. We are no more than animals. We just say that our morality comes from some sort of being above, but it's just our brain and our chemical structure that does so. So our morality is no more than chemicals, and we are animals. Any form of mechanical, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for making us machines, for making us predetermined to walk this path. Thank you, God, for that. From hordes of ca- cannibals to psych ward hospitals, just saying people are bad for the normal. But again, like, morals are only determined by human chemicals, so it doesn't matter. They're predetermined to do so anyways. It's a small world after all, saying, we aren't so different after all. Just realize that. So yeah. So yeah, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think we can obviously conclude with Willwood being really genius in his lyrics. I mean, I love his way of doing things. And the album kind of sums up with the reality that we should just live life. The last one's kind of talking about we're already gonna die. And Laplace's Angel fits into this narrative so well by saying it, yeah, you should just live how you want to live. That's how you're happy. That's how you're gonna sing along. But it's also kind of being more subtle about it so that you kind of have to read it's telling the story, but it also is a puzzle piece. It's so interesting that like you can read it so differently. It's important to the album, but it also tells the narrative of the album. Yeah, that's basically what I will conclude with and what many people concluded with. But this is my analysis of the words, and maybe even I'll add some more insight than most people, hopefully. Uh, so yeah, thank you for watching. See ya.